This is from our good friend Sean Simmons.
Hey, what's up, Sean?
Hope this email finds you well. I have two quick questions for you both. In addition to personal horror faves, I'm also running back some very early movies, such as far back as the 30s and 40s, when the horror genres really got its start. Are there any horror movies during that time period that are personal favorites or stick out to you? Are there any horror movies from, say, the 30s, 40s, maybe into the 50s?
I really like the big three. Like
Dracula.
I really like Bela Lugosi's Dracula.
Okay.
Like it's funny, we were talking before we started talking about watching things with my dad. And my dad actually told me that Dracula was scary when I was a kid. I was like, it's 7 or 8. I'm like, it can't be that scary. And, Dracula holds up. And I've revisited it over the years, and it does. It really holds up. Likewise, I think
Frankenstein
and Boris Karloff.
Boris Karloff.
I think Boris Karloff is so good.
Absolutely fantastic.
In Frankenstein.
Yes.
Like so good. And again, the sort of nuance and texture that you get from his performance, and Lon Chaney Jr. in The Wolfman. Like those are three real favorites of mine. I like Nosferatu. Like I think Nosferatu is actually scary.
That is scary.
Like actually scary.
Yeah.
I know we're moving out of it a little bit, but I think the first Creature from the Black Lagoon is pretty effective.
Okay.
I like that
one, but okay.
But so nothing that obscure with me. And you? Dracula,
it held something to me when I was young, but upon rewatching, and even at an early age, Dracula didn't do it for me. But Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein, I absolutely love both of those films. Absolutely love both of them. And you're right. It's all about Boris Karloff in both those movies. Even though shout out in a very small but effective role, Elsa Lanchester as the bride. So I'm huge fans of them. I like Lon Chaney Jr.'s Wolfman. I do. So I enjoy him. I like the fun, even though it's comedy horror. And I know you feel the same way about this. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's fun. Yeah.
But it's fun. But it's it's like the all-star game of that genre. Because it's Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney Jr. Even though it's Glenn Strange as Frankenstein's monster. But the one that I will say, and I hear you on the Creature of the Black Lagoon. Something about that suit just doesn't do it for me.
Really?
Yeah, something about that suit. Like it looks a little like I immediately see the rubber. So it doesn't do it for me.
So off-putting in a good way.
The one that does do it for me, especially for tone, is The Mummy. The Mummy, for the tone of it, really hits me. And again, that's Boris Karloff.
I find The Mummy slow.
But no slower than Dracula. I find Dracula crazy slow.
Dracula is all of the it's the vibe.
See, but that's what with The Mummy, the vibe gets.
And I think the sets are really cool in Dracula.
Okay.
Yeah, like I hear you. I think Dracula is much more atmospheric for me. But
the atmosphere of The Mummy.
Yeah, okay.
The Mummy with Boris Karloff.
Right.
That does it for me for that period. Sean had another question.
Like I said, Nosferatu.
Oh, Nosferatu. Yeah, then Nosferatu.
I don't really mess with it. Like that's me actually neither. Scary.
No. No.
All right.
No. Yeah, I don't mess with that.
Okay.
He has another question, and this may be more in your bag.
Okay.
Because you are a fan of horror comics. So he wants to know, what are some of your favorite horror genre comics? I'm not a fan of horror comics. So
I don't think you can go wrong with Bernie Wrightson's Swamp Thing, which they've reprinted 1 million times from the 70s. So you can find those pretty easily. Sticking with Swamp Thing, I think Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run is one of the few Alan Moore comics that is not overrated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it is absolutely hard. Along those lines, maybe the first year of Sandman before it gets real twee. I don't think you can go wrong with any old issue of Creepy or Eerie, like the old comic horror magazine. And you know, it's always a mixed bag because it's just an anthology, but it's always at least one or two bangers every issue that you pull.
Were you not or have not become a fan of Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan's Tomb of Dracula from the 70s?
I love Tomb of Dracula. It's almost like I don't think about Bruce Lee movies as karate movies. Like, they're so good, they transcend the genre. I think Dracula transcends the genre.
So it's so
like, I think everybody should read Dracula.
It's so good as a drama,
right?
Which is what it kind of like reads as,
right?
That you don't even appreciate the horror,
right?
It's just horror elements,
right?
As opposed to
right. But those are my kind of accessible go-tos, and then, you know, like, even with Creepy and Eerie, they're like certain artists that I like a little. Like I was telling you, we went to Paris and there was a dude, like, I collect Richard Corbin art in comics, but like I got punked in Paris because they were like, we got all the Richard Corbin you want. You got $10,000, and I said, I don't have $10,000, and then they were like, well, why are you in here wasting our time?